Mm-hmm.
Wait, talking to Pete Thomas. I think it is.
Okay, good evening. I would like to call to order the City of Goodyear regular council meeting of Monday, April 22nd, 2013. Will you please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance and Invocation? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please bow your heads. Heavenly Father, our nation has seen tragedy once again, and innocence has been lost. We grieve with our people and ask for healing. Lord, we have also seen great love from your people, helping one another and cheering our heroes. We pray on this special day of recognition for our earth. Let us take care of this precious gift that you have bestowed upon us. And finally, as our city discusses our finances and budget, may we be able to not only make wise decisions for us currently, but also visualizing our city for the future and knowing our decisions affect it all. In your mighty name we pray. Amen. Amen. Okay, as you can tell, I'm not Mayor Lord. She is in Washington, D.C. right now with the Greater Phoenix Economic Council, and we wish her well. She's doing good work for us, but I will need to ask that I have a motion excusing her for this evening.
So moved.
Second.
We have a first and second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 No opposed. Thank you. And also, I believe Councilmember Barber is on the phone. Jan, you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. We have two communication items this evening. The first presentation will be a commendation of police department officers for exemplary customer service by Police Chief Geyer.
Good evening, Vice Mayor and Council. We have so many exemplary employees in the city, in the police department and the fire department. These employees are constantly going beyond what is expected in doing their duties. Tonight, we have some that really went beyond what is expected, and we're going to take a few minutes to honor those. First of all, I'd like to have Sergeant Dwayne Pollard come on up. Also, Lieutenant Jimmy Rodriguez come on up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read the letter, and I have a certificate to present to you, and also I'm going to award you a Chief's coin, a coveted Chief's coin, which I know you're going to be excited about. This incident started back on April 7th when Lieutenant Jimmy Rodriguez was asked to assist a homeless man sleeping in a sleeping bag at a bus stop in front of the Wendy's on Litchfield Road. Normally, when we receive these calls, we either tell the person to move on, or we take them to a shelter, or provide them with other social services. Lieutenant Rodriguez learned that the man was from Los Angeles, an intelligent individual, but too proud to be on the side of the road begging for money. At first, the man was somewhat uncooperative, probably fearing he would be arrested, like he probably has many times in the past. After speaking with Lieutenant Rodriguez and seeing that we were there to help him, he was more open, and you could feel his self-esteem increasing as time went on. After several hours, Lieutenant Rodriguez arranged for a social service agency in Phoenix to donate a free bus ticket back to LA for this individual, but we could not get the ticket until the following day. Sergeant Dwayne Pollard then stepped in and also became involved in this case. And since the man had been living on the street for a considerable time, his clothes were dirty and he was in need of a shower. Sergeant Pollard contacted Hope's Closet to donate clothing and hygiene items such as soap, shampoo, and a towel. Sergeant Pollard contacted Kevin Dobson, thank you Kevin Dobson, and arranged for the man to be transported to the wastewater facility where he could shower and change into the donated clothing. When the man was picked up from the bus stop and learned what had been arranged for him, he was was so happy that he cleaned up the entire bus stop, including picking up all the trash in front of Wendy's and at the bus stop and disposing of all the trash. His attitude and demeanor were totally different than when we first made contact. After getting cleaned up, the man was transported to the Greyhound bus station in Phoenix, where he was presented with his ticket back to LA. In this case, it's actually a little more than just going beyond what's expected. You help change somebody's life. And no matter where this man goes, no matter what he does in the future, he's going to be able to think back on the city of Goodyear and the Goodyear Police Department and his experience here. So with that, I just want to say thank you and a great job.
That is wonderful.
Okay, I have one as well. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'd like to have the crew of Engine 184 come up if they can. So we have Captain Dan Green, Ken Gallas, and Captain Justin Swenson. All right, so on April 14th, 184 ran in a call for a cancer patient. The family had called from out of town. They were concerned about the patient at the house, so the crew went over there. They responded on the call. They realized that the patient, after a little while, didn't want to go to the hospital. So the crew reached out to the CTCA, made contact with their provider over there, and arranged for a transport to the CTCA instead of taking the patient to the emergency room. While they were at the house, they realized that the trash hadn't been taken out in a while and all sorts of disarray. So they were able to kind of tidy up the house a little bit, took the trash out for them. They also recognized that there wasn't any food in the house. So crew took it upon themselves to kind of pull their money and went to the grocery store and bought a full supply of groceries for this patient. So they deliver very, very high level of customer service. So tonight I'd like to provide them the Chiefs coin, leadership coin, for customer service initiative and for teamwork.
Hey.
Thank you very much. I'm sure that I have some council members that would like to say something. And gentlemen, if you will stay right there, and I know we'd all like to shake your hands. Thank you.
Want to start?
Sir? Oh, Sherry?
I'm sure you're going to hear this one after another. Everybody, thank you so much. I think that the chief said it when you both, all of you gentlemen, changed lives. You changed the perception that people might have, and you changed the life, and you gave people hope. And we are so fortunate to have you all in our community, and you all working for our city. And thank you so much.
Joe?
To just echo on that, this is the reason why I'm up here and so proud of this great city for people like you. And I know there's a lot of other examples, our volunteers, et cetera. And this is what makes this city great, is what you're doing. Just keep it up. And again, very proud and thank you for stepping up and doing what you do.
Molly?
I want to thank you as well, since you're the front face of Goodyear to all of our residents and anyone else that calls 911 or needs help. I know a lot of times we don't tell you thank you, but we appreciate everything you do every single day. And thank you very much.
You know, having lived this, you always take that stuff for granted. And now that I sit here on this side of the table, it is it's a great moment for us as a city. I appreciate everything that both police and fire do for us. And it shows that it's more than just, we do more than when answer the call when 911 is called. So great job. One of the things that we always are very proud of is the service that we provide in the city. And you guys have certainly stepped up and proven that. So thanks.
Gentlemen, you went beyond just doing your job. You showed compassion. You showed great customer service for the city of Goodyear. But, you know, really, you showed leadership. Because leadership also says, when there's a need, I'm going to take action, and that's what you guys did. You took action, so I thoroughly appreciate that. And I really would like to shake your hand. So if you come on up here, we would. Jennifer, I will get back to you, sorry.
Is he not working? Congratulations, you guys. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And I apologize. Jennifer, I'm sure you would like to say something.
Well, I can tell you I am so proud of this department. I'm so proud of all of these people. And all I can say really is it's just one more reason why our city continues to be an all-America city. It's the people like this that make us just a great place to live, work, and play. Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Well put. Okay, next we have our citizens' comments and appearances from the floor. This is the time where a citizen may come and speak and address the City Council on any non-agenda item. I understand we do have 2 speaker cards.
Yes, Vice Mayor. The first one is Yvonne Moulton.
And as Yvonne is heading up to the dais, I would like to let you all know how this does proceed with us. The council will listen to your comments and may take any one of the following actions. We can respond to criticism. We request that the staff investigate and report on the matter, or we may request that the matter be scheduled on a future agenda. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. The yellow light right there in front of you, and the buzzer will let you know you have 30 seconds left to speak. Before you begin to speak, identify yourself clearly with your name and your address. Thank you.
My name is Yvonne Moulton, and I live at 705 East Via Elena Street in Goodyear, and I've lived there for almost 37 years. My topic is speed cushion safety in the North Central neighborhood. I watched while these speed cushions were being installed, and I thought they were a very good idea. They have slowed down the traffic in the neighborhood, and those of us who were concerned about that are very pleased with that. However, on the night of February 2nd, my son was walking south on Central Avenue to a store after dark when he stumbled and fell on the unmarked side of a speed cushion placed to slow traffic. He broke his arm. This can be rectified easily by marking all these speed cushions on both sides. It's really a simple thing. Walking around the neighborhood myself, I see that the side that isn't marked is practically invisible from a distance because these speed cushions are exactly the same color as the street. And at night, the street on Central is very dark. The street lights are on the streets that intersect, but there isn't very much light there. People walk and bike there also, so it's really, it's really kind of necessary. So if you took a look at it, you would see that it could possibly be dangerous for people that others that don't see well at night too, Some people have a problem with that. Anyway, my son, with his broken arm, has been off work for 8 weeks, and it's cost him almost $500 for medical treatment. So that's something to consider also. Anyway, so I came here tonight to ask you to see that these not-so-soft cushions are plainly marked on both sides. And it seems like that should be a fairly simple and inexpensive thing to do. So thank you.
Thank you, Vaughn. Mr. City Manager, would you be able to get back with her, let us know on the council?
Yes, Vice Mayor, we will be following up, and we would like to make sure that we have a chance to talk to you as well as let council know what we can do with this.
Thank you.
You bet.
Next.
The next speaker is Derrick Follison.
Good evening, Council. Derrick Follison, school address of 13033 South Estrella Parkway, Estrella Foothills High School. With me tonight is Dr. Standifer, principal of Estrella Foothills High School. I'm here tonight to come and tell the Council that Estrella Foothills High School has partnered with your Parks and Rec Department and the ballpark staff, particularly Nathan Torres and Mark Kimball. And I want to tell you what a pleasure it is to work with that staff. the people from the grounds crew to the people in the booth to management to scheduling are a joy to work with. And we don't often get those things. We deal in similar business as you do. But with the Goodyear Night at the Ballpark, which just finished last Friday evening with the 3 Goodyear high schools playing in the main stadium, the Wolves Classic Baseball Tournament with 16 schools from around the state of Arizona playing in the professional facilities, the treatment and respect that we receive from those employees, and again, Mr. Torres and Mr. Kimball and their staff is remarkable. And we want to let you folks know that. We want to thank you for that from the youth and the community of Estrella. And as well, thank you very much for the graduation partnership. Ironically, I saw the word partnership on your screen when we walked in. And also, without the partnership of the Parks and Rec, Estrella Foothills would not have been able to open up their first swim team in the history of the school this year, which 50 young people were able to be active and involved, and we know what the results of that are, both academically and socially. So Estrella Foothills is here tonight to thank particularly those 2 people and their staff, but really everyone that we've worked with, and it's been a great experience for our youth.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Darn, you didn't criticize us. I can't say anything more on this. We appreciate you coming up and giving us that input. Any others? Would anyone else like to speak to the council? Okay. So moving on, now we'll go to the consent agenda. Will the city clerk please read the consent agenda by title only?
Item 6.1, adopt resolution 13-1542, authorizing the city manager or designee to execute an agreement with West Caps for joint study and planning of water resource projects in the West Valley to attain water sustainability. Item 6.2, approve a 90-day extension for the Palm Valley Phase 9 final plat approval, extending the approval date for 90 additional days to July 27th, 2013. Item 6.3, adopt resolution 13-1549, authorizing the release and relinquishment of certain portions of the public utility easement along the east side of the Estrella Parkway, beginning at Willis Road and heading north along the Parkway for approximately 1.3 miles, and accepting the dedication of a replacement public utility easement and a new water line easement. Item 6.4, accept the dedication of an emergency access easement and an exclusive water line easement to provide for emergency access across the open space / golf course property between Estrella Parcel 5.5 Phase 2 to Parcel 5.9 as required per the preliminary plat stipulations for Parcel 5.5.
Thank you. Would anyone from the public wish to remove an item from the consent agenda? Would anyone from council like to remove an item? Okay, hearing none, ask for a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Campbell and a second by Councilmember Stipp. I'll ask for a roll call vote.
Councilmember Pizzillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Loretano?
Aye.
Councilmember Campbell?
Aye.
Councilmember Barber?
Aye.
Councilmember Stipp?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Osborne?
Aye.
Passes 6-0.
Thank you. We'll now go into the business section of our agenda, starting with 7.1. We will conduct a public hearing to consider approving the renewal of a license agreement between the City of Goodyear and Cox Communication to install, operate, and maintain a cable system with the city. We will open the public hearing. Mario Saldamando will present. Hello, Mario.
Good evening, Vice Mayor and Council. The item before you tonight is the license agreement between the City of Goodyear and Cox Communications. The agreement was signed in 1994, at that time with Dimension Cable. It was in the mid-90s when that company merged with Cox Communications, and that company currently serves the community today. This evening, I'd like to introduce Michael Stull, who is the Government Relations Manager with Cox Communications. He's here this evening to provide a brief presentation on the services and community involvement. Following his presentation, staff has PowerPoint, a few slides highlighting the key provisions within the license agreement, and then be happy to open it up for questions. So at this time, I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Stahl.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor and members of the council. I appreciate your time. Really quick, wanted to run through a presentation. I like to do these occasionally, and at times of renewal, it always is great to be able to step forward and give you an idea of what we're doing in the community, so that you can consider that along with the license agreement. Real quick, I'll figure this keyboard out hopefully here. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Just to give you an idea of some of the things we've done at Cox Communications concerning our products and service offerings over the last few years. Obviously, we've been known as a traditional cable company for many years, but you know, starting about a little more than a decade ago, we did a number of things, including the launch of telephone and internet service, and about the same time, launching of those services and additional services to businesses throughout the community as well. And some of the things this is a video license that we're considering tonight, and to touch on a few of the video components, the things that are built into our video services, I think is helpful on the background here. First of all, a few of the issues I have bulleted there. Cox Mobile Connect. These are all new services that you're going to see that have been launched or will be launched very soon. Cox Mobile Connect is actually a TV DVR control that you can use from your smartphone to program your DVR and other components within your home over the cable network. So if you are remote from your home, you can obviously program your DVR to record an event that's upcoming. TV Online, that gives subscribers to our advanced TV packages access to really thousands of different TV and movies online. They go in and they can log in and watch those particular things online over the internet. Cox TV Connect, that is if you have an iPad, you can access via your Wi-Fi network around 30 networks within your home. Sort of a neat component if you're out on the porch or doing other things within the home and you like to watch TV and don't have a particular TV in that room. Cox Home Security, you may have heard that we've launched Home Security. Neat product. It goes beyond just monitoring your standard house for break-in or that type of thing. It's actually a smart product that can monitor temperature, fire alarms within the home, turn lights on and off within the home. There are a variety of other components too that can be built onto that service within the home. So it's a whole home monitoring product. And then whole home DVR. Basically what that is you have a standard DVR. Well, it's not a standard DVR. It's actually a large capacity DVR, and it has a series of boxes that are located at other televisions within your home, and you can record devices DVR onto that. You can record programming onto that DVR and then watch it pretty much throughout the home. Just a couple of quick things about the company from the technology side. As you know, we launched On Demand several years ago now. Our library really has grown significantly on the offerings that we offer through the On Demand product. Really 7,500 unique titles of movies and content now. And it goes a lot deeper on some of the programming as far as television programs concerned. Over 100 unique channels of HD programming. That's unique. A lot of satellite programmers will claim that they have over 100 channels, but what they do is they double count their east and west feeds and all kinds of different stuff. This is actually unique individual programming on the channel. We just upped our internet service. We're now at 150 megabits per second on the fastest tiers within the community. So we continue to expand those offerings from time to time. You'll notice also the picture at the bottom there is a photo of the inside of a Cox digital store. These stores are actually sort of set up like an Apple store. You walk in, the text can help you with items that we distribute to our customers, or programming questions, that kind of thing. And they are actually set up to do multi-purposes. We just launched and have begun to sell a Verizon wireless service within these stores as well. So it's sort of becoming a whole home communications solution place to go to. Community commitment, I did want to point out, I made a mistake on this. It says more than 40 hours of service in 2012 on the top bullet there. We actually committed almost 40,000 hours worth of community service in 2012. I apologize.
That makes a
for
little
that.
more sense.
Yeah, just a little bit more. As you can see, raised over $500,000 from our employee contributions, and that money in turn is distributed out to organizations throughout actually throughout the state of Arizona, who are charitably supported organizations. We've been very good to do that over the last 10 years or so. In fact, I believe total contributions, I don't have this committed, but I think it's approaching $3 million. So it's fairly significant donations from our employees. The customer commitments, if you look at the J.D. Power Awards, that gives you an idea of some of the awards that have been handed down over the past decade or so for the different products and business classification services. Things we've done fairly recently. Several years ago, we put almost $300 million into network upgrades. In fact, if you count other things within the network, that total approaches $500 million. So it's fairly significant network upgrades. Those network upgrades have had to be done in order to accommodate additional additions of video programming, increased bandwidth for our internet product and our business services products. And then also I wanted to mention our proactive networking monitoring and management. This is an interesting thing that we've incorporated in the last couple of years. We actually up at our campus, which is located at 19th Avenue and Deer Valley Road, we have a network monitoring process that will literally go in and look at the entire network, and it will identify pieces of equipment that possibly are malfunctioning, and it alerts our techs before failure occurs. In most instances, our customers don't even know that a piece of equipment has failed or is on the verge of failure before we have a tech dispatched to replace certain things. So it's a proactive management thing that's really neat. And then our home certification program, what we've started to do is when a tech goes out to a home to install service or receives a trouble call, the tech is spending a lot more time looking at the inside wiring within homes and sort of evaluating how the customer has networks set up so that problems within the home can be addressed and eliminated, which keeps multiple calls or multiple redundant trouble calls from coming into our call center. So we're working to proactively address those things going forward as well. Just real quick, a little overview on our Cox business side. Identically, we now offer over coaxial to business 150 megabits per second. That's the fastest speed we offer coax tie. But if we tie to businesses via fiber, they can go up to gigabit type speeds. So it's a great thing for local business. Typically, our prices over our competitors are quite a bit lower. I'd say 20 to 50%. Gives you an idea there at the bottom, some of the customers that we have, our CB customer, our Cox business customers. And from the municipal side, a couple of municipalities that popped into my mind. I know there are more than this, but I know we provide significant service to Casa Grande and to Buckeye as well. So a couple of our CB customer or our Cox business customers on the government side. And just really to take it into the home stretch, a couple of things that we've done on the statewide commitment. Cox Arizona is Cox Enterprise, our parent company's largest single holding. And as a result, Cox Enterprise takes very seriously its commitment to Arizona. A couple of things that we've done over the last year is we needed a redundant backup center for our corporate-wide database, and they invested $80 million in the local economy for a data center. And then a couple of other things we've been doing, the Center of Excellence designation. We actually have 1 of 5 deployed warehouses for our equipment in the continental United States. 1 is located right here, so very close to town. And Center of Excellence for Customer Service in Spanish language, meaning that all calls from the United States that are Spanish come into Phoenix. That's allowed us to expand our Spanish customer calling center employee base, and it's been a good thing for Arizona. So those are a couple of things we've done there. And I think Mario's plan is to wait till afterwards for questions, unless you feel otherwise. But
Thank you.
all right, thank you.
Okay, are there any speaker cards?
No, Vice Mayor.
Thank you. Would anyone from the audience like to speak? Okay, well, I will close the public hearing. Will the city clerk please read the resolution by title only?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mario.
Vice Mayor, I have a brief presentation just hitting some of the key provisions in the agreement.
You can't. I will unclose it. Okay, go ahead. I apologize. I thought you were just coming up for questions.
Just a few slides here, providing a little background. Again, the city has had the agreement in place since 1994. It provides use of the right-of-way. In exchange, the city receives 5% of the gross revenue. Staff has been working on the renewal, which is basically approaching. That's May of 2013. And the agreement it took advantage of some housekeeping items within the agreement. It also referenced a few other agreements that are currently passed in other cities. Cox currently has or provides service to with 40 local jurisdictions throughout Arizona. So there were quite a number of agreements, and a few were passed recently that we referenced. The controlling authority behind the agreement is Chapter 17 of the Goodyear City Code. It's also a non-exclusive agreement. The City Council recently adopted a similar agreement with CenturyLink in February. Arizona revised statutes also drive the agreement. It's the 5% of the gross revenue is tied to the ARS. The recommended term is a 15-year term. The initial term was 18 years, and 15 years is based on the track record that the city has with Cox. There haven't been any significant right-of-way issues or customer issues. They're a good corporate partner. So with that said, the staff recommendation is a 15-year term for this second agreement. Restoration of property, there are provisions within the agreement. A lot of the work is done when new subdivisions or as a part of new construction. There's maintenance work that's required within the right-of-way. Occasionally within residential areas that are established. If that's, regardless whether it's maintenance or installation, the work that's performed in the right-of-way meets a 2-year warranty standard. Pavement, sidewalks, driveways, landscaping, all the property in the right-of-way are held to current city standards. It's basically their responsibility to bring that work into compliance with the existing condition that was there prior to doing the work in the right-of-way. Also, when they're in the residential areas, they provide a notice to residents via door hangers or flyers, giving them advance notice that they'll be conducting work within the neighborhoods. The agreement includes provisions, letter of credits, performance bonds, liquidated damages to ensure that the right-of-way is restored. The agreement also includes service to city buildings, provided that no other provider is serving the location and that it's within a standard drop distance to city facilities. Government access channels, there are provisions in the agreement that allow the city to have up to 4 channels for government access use. 2 of those channels on the digital tier have the ability, if the city's interested in securing that signal. I think Phoenix and Chandler all take advantage or use this signal for their public safety departments to watch trainings or to receive briefings that only the programming can only be seen by their staff. Lastly, the fiscal impact associated with the agreement is 5% of gross, and again, that's driven by state statutes. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mario. Okay, now I'll do it the correct way. So, since you have spoken, does anyone from the audience have a question? All right, so I will close the public hearing, and I will ask the city clerk to read the resolution by title only.
Adopt Resolution 13-1548, approving the renewal of a license agreement between the City of Goodyear and Cox Communications to install, operate, and maintain a cable system within the City of Goodyear.
Thank you. May I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion from Councilmember Stipp and a second from Councilmember Pizzillo. Roll call vote, please. Oh, I'm sorry. No. Discussion first. Questions, Wally.
I have a couple of questions. I'd like to know what the total customer count is for Goodyear. Do you know that?
Yeah, I thought that was 22,000, but Michael?
I have several questions. If you just want to stay up there, please, sir.
Unfortunately, I don't have that committed to memory, but generally what we see is we see a penetration of less than 50% because of satellite and other competitors.
Mario, could you get me that number, please, if you don't mind?
We provide that, just so you know, we provide those numbers on a monthly basis to the city.
All right. And do you know how many service calls you had for Goodyear in the last year or so?
No, ma'am, but I know that it's probably pretty low. I can get that number for you.
All right, well, then I'm not going to ask the rest of my questions because you're not going to have the answers, so thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Certainly can.
Any other questions? All right. Okay. Well, with that, then we will have a roll call vote. Oh, you do have a question?
No, just a comment. Listen, I appreciate the effort, that Cox does and within the community, and especially stepping up as far as the volunteer and the money that they donate as well. And I know it's confidential information as far as the gross, but they're a sizable contributor to us as well. So with that, again, I appreciate all the effort which you put on there, Mario, to get this thing hammered through.
Thank you, Councilmember. Thank you. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Loretano?
Aye.
Councilmember Campbell? Aye. Councilmember Barber?
Aye.
Councilmember Stipp?
Aye.
Councilmember Pizzillo?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Osborne?
Aye.
Passes 6-0.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Okay, 7.2, we will now consider accepting the results of the Southwest Valley Local Transit System Study as prepared by the Maricopa Association of Governments. Christine McMurdy will present.
Good evening, Vice Mayor and council members. Just to refresh you, on March 25th, you received a presentation from the Maricopa Association of Governments on the Southwest Valley Local Transit System Study. Tonight, staff is recommending that you accept the study. By accepting the study, we're not obligated to commit any of the recommendations that were provided. We're merely acknowledging the effort that was undertaken by MAG to accomplish the study and close it out with all the cities. So here's some of the feedback that MAG has received so far on the study. They presented to the City of Avondale in a work session, the Town of Buckeye, the City of Litchfield Park. They've met with Supervisor Will Cox, and they are currently taking the study through all the MAG committees to approve. Basically, the feedback that's been received so far from the cities is all of them consistently have had questions about the funding. How much would it cost to execute a regional transit system through the short term, through the midterm, through the long term, and how do you fund something like that? I know one or two questions came out of Litchfield Park. How does the city of Tempe do it? How does the city of Scottsdale do it? Just general questions related to how could we accomplish this together. In Buckeye, one of the council members requested staff look at forming a citizen transit advisory committee, basically consisting only of Buckeye residents. And then in Litchfield Park, they asked how much it would cost to extend the Zoom into Litchfield Park. They didn't stipulate how far they wanted to go, but they were just curious what that might take. So next steps. One of the first recommendation that was made by MAG is that the cities continue this conversation, continue to discuss it, continue to see where this fits in all the priorities. MAG was very cognizant of the fact that we're all facing different priorities. We're all in the middle of our budgets right now. And so at a minimum, they think it would be a good idea to just continue to talk about this either together or individually. And then look at funding priorities and the level of commitment for short-term or even in the long term. I can tell you that on that first bullet, we have a meeting as soon as this week with MAG to discuss as a region with the study partners what that funding mechanism could be, how we can participate in federal funding, how we may not be able to participate in federal funding. It's really just an open dialogue, just a discussion. And MAG has promised us that they have some ideas. So we're always open to ideas, but we would certainly not pursue anything unless we had the opportunity to bring it back to you. So basically, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Are there any speaker cards? No, Vice Mayor. Would anyone like from the audience like to speak? All right, I would like to ask for a motion and a second.
So moved.
Motion from Councilmember Loretano, second from Councilmember Pizzillo. Open for council discussion. Bill?
I know we had several questions come up during our discussion. I don't recall getting answers to those. And to be very honest with you, it was a month ago, so I don't recall specifically what they were. But I think we had questions about changing a route from here to there, or how do we fund this, and I understand it was just a study, but I think it will help us for future decisions and as we go forward. Did anybody capture those great ideas we had that night a month ago?
We did capture all of them, and all that information has been pulled together, and I will get with staff first thing in the morning and see if we can find out why that didn't get to you. But
it's possible that it did.
and we'll follow through on that. But to your point about the great ideas, I have to say there's staff has had a lot of discussion about this. I mean, there are opportunities now in terms of funding that we have never had before in very different areas, both federally, locally, and not necessarily looking at this regionally in the short term, but looking at some local, some piece, some part of this that would provide some additional convenience for citizens without over-obligating the city into something that we would just have to continue regardless. So those discussions are continuing based on some of the feedback that we did get that night, and also because MAG is very interested in seeing transit in some way, shape, or form develop now that they've seen the success of the Zoom, which has successfully expanded into Tollison now, and now that we're seeing transitioning at the federal level on how funding has changed. Very soon you're also going to get a presentation from MAG on transit-oriented development, and that is a very new concept that is grown out of the change in funding and the reduction in funding levels, just so that more cities that make this commitment can be successful for the long term. So there's some really interesting developments in this area, and we will make sure that that information gets back to you.
Great, thanks.
Wally?
Yeah, Mr. City Manager, I'm kind of interested in Citizens Transit Advisory Committee made up of Goodyear residents as well, like the Buckeye folks. I think in order for us to be successful, we may need to pull some citizens together so it can be more personal to buy in the concept. But that's just, I thought I'd like it left on the table if we could leave it on the table.
Vice Mayor, Councilmember Campbell, appreciate that input. And we're also making sure that part of the transportation master plan that we're going through, we'll try and pull in some of those elements as well, but
Okay.
Appreciate the input.
Anyone else? Well, I appreciate the presentation, and yes, I agree with Councilmember Stipp. You know, we had our individual presentations, then we had the group presentation, and so I know there's been a lot of question and excitement, and then it's just going to be patience as time goes by and we find our funds. I agree with Councilmember Campbell. I believe that the things that we discussed is going to take input from our citizens, and getting that word out is going to take our citizens, so I think that would be something to look at. Okay, all in favor? Say aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Jen? Oh, maybe she's gone. Jennifer, are you still there? Oh, I think we lost Jen. Okay, thank you. The ayes have it. All right, information items. Would any council members like to tell us what you've done the last couple weeks? Sherry?
Well, it all kind of centers around. There's been a lot of things with volunteers in our community, and the volunteer dinner appreciation was this week, and lots of us attended that. And a lot of those faces were people the week before that we saw at Sky Kids, that we saw at the health rodeo, bike rodeo. I mean, there was been so much, the homeless youth connection, just a lot of community involvement and support. So I've just been going to a lot of those events and seeing our great volunteers.
Thank you. Joe?
Yeah, I'd just like to echo that Sky Kids event was an awesome event. It really was. Seems to be getting larger each year. So, again, tip of the hats for all those who stepped up and helped that be successful.
Wally?
I followed everyone to all the events as well, so.
Bill, did you have anything? Yeah. Well, and I agree. We have a tremendous, wonderful group of volunteers, and every year that we have that volunteer appreciation dinner and event falls on the same night as my Teen Action, my Y2L leadership program, and I just can't be in both places. And same with Sky Kids, runs on auction day for the sheep. So, you know, we do have wonderful things that are going on, and I really appreciate all of our citizens and everything that they do in our town. I also did attend Westmark's Economic Forecast Luncheon. You know, Westmark always has a great, positive, optimistic, you know, look for us, and you know, it was catching, so I appreciated that. Have had the chance and the opportunity, I think many of us did, to meet the new executive director of the chamber, and I see Sherilyn Holman out there, and I would just like to say thank you for all your years of service at the chamber. And I had an interesting meeting with some gentlemen from Chevron Energy, and they would like to look at possible partnerships for SciTech festivals. They do the Geek Night Outs and STEM Zone, and so you never know. See what comes out of that. That's all I have. So, Mr. City Manager, would you like to add anything or have any follow-up?
Vice Mayor, members of the council, we do have some follow-up items from the work session, but specifically, there are a couple of follow-up items from this regular meeting, and that has to do with follow-up with Cox, number of customers and service orders. And Mr. Stipp, I'll get with you afterwards as far as the information on the presentations. But I think that's all I have in terms of follow-up for the work for the city council meeting. Did I miss
El
anything?
Rio, well, for the city council.
Yeah,
Okay.
the work session, we did have some follow-up, like El Rio and some of the others that we'll be bringing back before you. And then as long as I have this opportunity, I would say that we continued to grow. We just got the numbers in from Katie Wilkin. City's population estimates for April 1st, 2013 is now 70,775. So no surprises. We continue to inch our way up towards that $100,000
That wasn't
milestone.
an April Fool's joke, you said?
You know, it wasn't.
Okay.
Didn't think quickly enough to do one of those this year, but yes, thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Does anyone, council, have? Oh, and the follow-up for the speed cushions for our citizen?
Yes, thank you very much. And we will be following up as committed earlier.
All right. Any inquiries of staff? All right, then, meeting adjourned. Thank you.